Hey, what's up, guys? I am back again. Two times in one day, right? So lucky. It's Nick Rizzo, StrivenLife.com, high performance business and life coach. And what we are talking about today is, well, on this part, is about getting organized and dealing with overwhelm when starting a new project in your business, or maybe you're even underway with this new project. And we're trying to talk about, how we can kind of deal with this in a better way, deal with it in advance, plan for this in advance in order to make sure we don't have these issues while we're trying to, finish up a project or achieve a certain goal you may have in mind or this objective of yours. So for every single objective, initiative, goal that I have in my business, you're damn straight I make a plan for it, right? And I do the same thing with all of my clients. And it so far, out of over the past 6 months, it's all been working really well and eliminating overwhelm and giving us a lot of clarity and direction when moving forward. So the first thing is when you go to start a new project, you have to take the time. And I know it feels like 1,000 things are always happening at once, and you just want to get started and get moving because of all the pressure and deadlines and things like that. But you need to take that time to first say, let me get my plan laid out, see it all clearly, what needs to actually be completed, and when I need to complete these things by, in order to know where to put this work in. So, for example, whenever I start a new project, I haven't announced it yet, but there's a new project starting this month that I'll announce in the next couple of days. And I'll show you kind of some of the stuff I've done for that in a little bit. And so whenever I go to start a new project, I first start by saying, what is the overall objective, right? What is the goal of this? And I outline it. And then I take this new objective and I break it down into separate categories that I call pillars. And these are the things that I'm going to try to build up in order to achieve this goal, right? I'm going to use my hands a lot in this video, apparently. And so let's say you are, I don't know, maybe you're launching a new course, right? And so parts of launching that course is, one, you have to create the course. You have to shoot the videos. You have to make any templates or directions. And all of those things would go under the pillar of the course creation. Your second pillar may be email marketing, right? You're going to have to tell your list about it in different ways and engaging ways and get them excited about it, get them in the anticipation building for the launch of it, and get that sales going right at the start. Then there's social media marketing, and then there's Facebook ads and all these other pillars that come along with them. And each one of these individual pillars are going to get broken down into individual tasks. Now, these tasks can be broken down into one-off tasks, like maybe creating a graphic. They can be broken down into daily tasks, like, for example, doing daily Facebook Lives, #StrivenDaily. Or they could be work that you batch. So maybe you have a certain week where you're like, okay, I'm going to batch out all of this. Maybe it's content creation. Maybe it's social media repurposing, whatever it may be. And as well as one-off tasks, daily, batching. Yeah, that's about it. Sorry. Or like weekly tasks, things you got to do once a week, right? So now for each one of these individual pillars, you break them down into tasks that you need to do in order to push that pillar up as high as you can in order to achieve that ultimate objective or goal that you have. Now, when you go through this process and you're breaking this all down, you need to be writing it out. Because whether you're typing or writing, you need to write it out because you need to see it, right? You can't just think about all of it because there's no way you can get organized enough in just your brain to know about all the tasks you have to do and how you're going to go and do them. So that's the first step, is plan. The second step is, now that you have this plan, you need to see and try to have some preconceptions as to what are some roadblocks or adversities you may have to overcome in this plan. So maybe it's the first time you've ever launched a course. So the first question you're going to have to ask is, do I need a certain software to launch a course? Do I need to have, what are all the things that I need in order to have a course on my website that people can then access once they purchase it, and then they gain access to it? So there's a lot that goes into that, and then you can also ask questions like, what consists of a great course? What are the main things I need to have in a course in order to make it really engaging for my client, or my customers, and my audience? And that's kind of the way you start, is you have the plan, and then you start asking the right questions. So that way, before you even start taking action, you already have a good idea of some of the roadblocks you may come across, and you can plan those in to your plan to figure out, right? You don't want to wait until the week where you're going to be putting the course up on your site to figure out how to host a course on your site and receive payment for it. So that's the second thing, is ask the right questions and find the answers to ensure that you don't hit those roadblocks at the very last moment, when is the worst time that you want to be able to be experiencing those things. Second, the third thing is, now that you have this plan, you know all the tasks that have to be completed in order to achieve this objective or goal or project, now it's time to actually plan it, right? So, for example, the thing that I have yet to announce to you guys, this is everything that I have to do throughout a month. So I identified all the tasks that I have to do regardless of this new project I'm doing, right? And those all got put into my schedule. So now I know on every single day what tasks I have to do to complete in order to stay on pace to be able to launch this. Hi, Chris, watching from my kitchen. Nice. And so if you're dealing with overwhelm when you're launching your new project or going for a new goal, if you started with this, you did the plan, you broke them down into tasks, you asked the right questions to see what you may be, what adversities or things you may have to overcome, then you build out a planner, right? So this is just the first 2 weeks of the month. You're not gonna be able to read any of it, but that's the point, is that every day I know exactly what tasks have to be completed in order for me to launch this project every month and meet the deadline that has to happen, right? So the deadline is by the last 5 days of every month, this project that I'm doing is going to happen. And so I need to get everything done every month in a cyclical system in order to achieve this. So knowing what my deadline is allows me to say, okay, when do I need to complete these things by? And as well, make sure I leave space open for when things get more complicated, for the things that we didn't preconceive as sort of objectives or adversities that we may have to overcome while trying to do this. So that's the third thing, right? Is build out a plan. If you have your whole month, like this is every month I have to do this, and if you take the time to plan out those actions, ask the right questions, and integrate those into a plan where you know every single thing that's going to be happening, and you know when you have to do them by, and by a certain deadline, well, it automatically starts to eliminate the overwhelm of completing projects by the time of which you want to complete them by, as well as just in general, anything you're trying to do with a detailed plan where you really think it fully through and try to align everything with your business. It eliminates the overwhelm. It gives you such clarity in the direction you're going and what needs to be done to get there. And that's why I'm always talking about goals. Like, again, like a new blog post up today about the 8 question test to ensure that your goals are rock solid. When you set that goal, which is what your plan starts with, is a goal you want to achieve, and you break it down into the pillars, and you break them down into individual tasks, and you ask the right questions, and you plan all those tasks into your month with a nice buffer of time before that deadline to ensure if anything happens last minute, you have the time to finish it and get to it and complete it without having to pull an all-nighter or something the day before you're supposed to be launching something or providing something to your audience or a potential client that you have. All right. And now some people may ask, what happens if I'm already in the middle of a project and you're watching this video, right? It's the same exact thing. First, take an audit of everything that you've done so far and just write it out. These are the things I've completed. And now make a second list of saying, these are the things that I need to do still by a specific time, right? That deadline that you have. And do the same process, right? Break it down, identify all the individual tasks that you have to do, and use a simple planner. Like, I don't use tools to plan. I use Google Docs, right? It's simple as hell. I don't need, fancy ass stuff like Trello or Asana to do that kind of stuff. I know what has to get done. I know what days I'm doing on, and I know that if I do all of those things, I will get things done by the time they need to get done, and usually get them done ahead of time, just in case. All right. Now, if in another aspect of this is that if you're struggling with overwhelm, you kind of have to say, what have I been doing that's led to me to this point of being overwhelmed, right? So how did you get to this point? Reflect on the process that took you to this point where you're feeling drastically overwhelmed in your business and trying to do the things you want to succeed at. Because if that is the case, then you need to start revisiting the process you go about in order to start and go on these journeys to achieve these goals and objectives that you have in your business. It's that simple. All right. Yeah. So sorry. Someone had asked me this question in a post I made earlier today, so I just want to get on here and put it up here. But yeah, so plan, pillars, break it down. What's going on, Zach? Start your goal. Identify the pillars of which you need to do in order to achieve that goal. Break those pillars down in individual tasks. Ask the questions about what could be potential roadblocks here or things you may have to overcome in that process, and then plan it into each individual day. So that way, every single task is accounted for in order for you to reach the goal or objective that you have set. And it's that simple. All right. And if you need help doing something like that, feel free to message me or comment below and I'll reach out to you, help you set it up, help you start getting that clarity and direction and building that momentum in your business to deliver on the content and services and value that you are passionate about delivering to your audience, because that is what it's all about. On that note, until tomorrow, it's been Nick Rizzo. I'll see you tomorrow.